At times when I paint an image, it takes more than one try, and I can spend hours on the first version before even realizing that it's not what I had in mind. I have no idea how many times this has happened before, and while it's annoying, sometimes that's just part of my process, for good and bad. Could it be avoided if I created more sketches beforehand, considering that I didn't really do that for this image? Probably not. At times, this is just how the process works, because while sketches can catch a lot of things, they don't catch everything. Sometimes it's just tricky to capture what I had in mind, and the thing is, those things happen. I am human, I have good days and bad days like everyone else, and sometimes that's just more visible in my art. Bad days still suck a lot, especially when you feel like you wasted hours on something that you're not even liking, but it's still possible to look forward and just try again. You might be wondering why I didn't stop painting sooner if I saw the image wasn't turning out like I wanted. A lot of images go through this ugly duckling stage, where it simply doesn't look good at all and you have to decide if you continue or stop. If you stick to it, trust the process and keep working, you might end up loving the finished image. However, other times you'll stick with it and it still doesn't turn out the way you hoped. It can be tricky to recognize if you're pushing through the ugly stage or if the image is beyond fixing. And it's honestly something I'm still learning with my personal work, but oftentimes I find that I learn a lot more by simply completing the image. Done is better than perfect is a phrase you've probably heard a lot of artists say. It's a phrase I also use. So why would I go and redo this image? There can be a lot of reasons for this. If I'm working on a series of images and an image doesn't fit the rest of the series, then I have no choice but to restart. I might be experimenting with a few things, including style, which again might end up not being what I had in mind. And of course, there can also be fundamental issues with the composition, proportions, and even the technique that I only see later on. In the case of this specific image, I was starting a new image series, and part of what I wanted to capture was real places. The issue I encountered was not striking the right balance between the style I wanted and the amount of details I put into the image. So basically, I got stuck in the details, and when I finished the image, I felt it was both overworked and not representative of my style. Restarting was the only way forward. The good thing about restarting is that I could use the first image as a base for the next one. Looking back at these images over a year later, I am able to recognize things that I love and hate about both images. Does that mean that I now see them as failures? Not at all. They allowed me to experiment with my style and push things in a direction I didn't quite know would work. I am now able to see other potential changes I would like to make should I revisit this topic again. Is it on the cards for me to revisit this image or maybe even the series? Yes, but not yet. For now, I do consider them done, as revisiting them isn't a priority. But please note, there is nothing wrong with redoing an image, be it directly after you finished it or after a longer period of time. Revisiting old work is all part of how we grow and learn as artists. Besides, we shouldn't let one image we're not happy with stop us from trying again and creating new images. While it can feel disappointing to not get things right the first time, but part of learning means picking ourselves up and trying again and again. Thank you for watching.